Hey everyone, this is Robin Graves, and this is The World According to Graves. Little sippage here, Mountain Dew. Yes. Done by PepsiCo. Anyway, hold on, let's get this sound going. Dum, 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 dum. Hands aren't working right. It's kind of chilly outside, and we got rain coming in, and, well, arthritis. Love that sound. Love the taste more. No movie, Mike. Um, First off, if you guys remember, a few weeks ago, I made a comment about Albert Francis O'Rourke pulling out of the race. Guess what? Last Friday he did. Thank you, 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 everybody. I was right. You heard it here first. Beto O'Rourke quits. I saw, I saw the video of him quitting. It looked like he's doing it at an Otasco parking lot. Jesus Christ, that fake wannabe, damn chair, wannabe Mexican. And guys, let's sit there and push off how he's Hispanic or part Hispanic. He's Irish. God dang. His great grandparents, I believe it was, came here from Ireland to work on the railroad. There's no Mexican whatsoever in him, but he wants to fake it. But that's your typical Democrat right there. Your typical liberal piece of crap that he is. The man was nothing but self-deprecation. He was talking about the flavor of the minute just to get people to pay attention to him, much like everybody else during the debates. Everybody else running on the left. Gee, let's cater to every fringe element there is. American bad, everybody else good. Give away free stuff, freebie, free healthcare, open borders. You're all welcome here in our country. We can afford you. We'll pay for you to be here, while screwing over hardworking and decent Americans. Yeah, they fail to realize coming to this country is actually a felony if you're not, coming here illegally. If you come here illegally, it's a crime. They don't want to admit that. Thing is, it must be nice to be able to pick your own morality as you go along. You don't believe in a law, don't enforce it, don't obey it whatsoever. You have an excuse. Good God. All we have left is Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and Elizabeth Warren. Yang and Cortez, or whatever the other guy's name is. I don't know what his name is. Do you? I don't think anybody does. They're out of the question. Booker, he'll be gone soon. Hell, he's a joke anyway. And it was all down to funneling between three people, and the one they're pushing for the most is Elizabeth Warren. Do you know why? Because she's a woman, and it would be nice to have a woman president for once. Good God, people. This goes right into something I want to talk about a little bit today. I didn't intend to come on here with one certain subject. I want to talk about a few things. Right now, California. Geez, we have rampant homelessness, little human feces on the streets, used needles all over the place, wildfires, electric outages. California, good idea. Have everybody get hybrids and electric cars and then cut off electricity. Really smart. They have all of that going on. People losing their homes to fires, people dying, gang activity, all this mess. And what are they doing? Not a goddamn thing. They're going and go another time pulling this shit. This we'll get into in a minute. They want to pull all this shit and everything. Talk about Trump bad, Orange Man bad, impeach 45. While their state should change its name to Armageddonville. That place is horrible. My God. I think there's every biblical plague in the world has ever happened there. And they won't do anything about it. They don't want to worry about it. They don't want to. They're going to get the votes anyway because illegals vote there. People there will vote for a Democrat. Even if it was Charles Manson, they would vote for him if he ran on the Democrat ticket. Excuse me. And, God, I hate Windows 10. Try to close out things and it won't listen. So, you know what? California, as far as I'm concerned, is a lost cause. They're the ones, that want to get rid of the Electoral College, which worked for over 200 years. Perfectly for over 200 years. Till Hillary lost. Oh, we've got to get rid of it and go for the popular vote. Which, yeah, them in New York will actually be controlling the rest of the country if we do that. It's gotten to the point now where it's gotten stupid. I used to think of it as entertaining. Now I just think the whole thing about the West Coast and the Northeast, I'm beginning to think they're all inbred retards. So let's talk about another place that's really interesting, shall we? Let's talk about Chicago. You know, you hear all the people on the left, Beto was running around talking about, yeah, we're going to take your AR-15s and your M16s and your AR-15s and your anything that looks like an ugly gun. The cocksucker even turned around and said, I never said that. Yeah, he did. He said it on TV during one of the debates. People, I haven't had Democrats arguing with me, telling me how he never said he's going to take anything away from us. My God, man, there's so many damn gullible people out there, it's not funny. On the left and the right. Jesus Christ. Jeez. But let's talk about Chicago. They're the ones doing the same thing as the California Democrats are, ignoring the problems in their own city, just so they can get rid of a sitting president who's duly elected by a majority of the people. If it wasn't a majority of the people, then the Electoral College wouldn't have said he won. I wish they would sit there and look at facts, look at everyday plain things instead of things that are in their little bubble. And the polls that they go by, who's polled? Major Democrat cities. There we go. Yeah. Don't want to look too dark, don't want to look like a zombie. No, Mr. Romero, I'm not ready for my movie yet. The whole matter is that a majority of the left and the right both live in a bubble. The TV stations right now, networks, all work for the Democrat Party. I'm not going to go into it. I'll just say, look at a previous video of mine. Our news has been bought and paid for by special interest. Believe me, I know how this works. I've actually spoken to a couple of people, even one station manager. I even spoke to him one time. He even said how it works. But actual news right now, we're going to get into a future show very soon, how that's... So, don't worry, we'll get that taken care of too. But Chicago, God, let me get my notes here. I actually had to take notes on this. I couldn't believe the numbers until I started taking notes here. The police there are pretty much handicapped with corruption and liberal policies. The crime is rampant in Chicago. Oh my God, even the police departments there are so corrupt. They very rarely catch a cop who's involved in corruption. There's actually a cop there who recently was actually caught and prosecuted. He was caught for systematically shaking down black drug pushers and taking the drugs and selling the drugs himself. He was, if certain black people wouldn't cooperate with his tactics, he would frame them. And thanks to a judge there that cooperated with him, sent innocent people to prison. Mainly black people. It wasn't due to the fact that he was racist. The fact is that a lot of the black people there were, a majority of the drug pushers there were black. And black drug pushers that wouldn't cooperate with him, their families, anybody he thought was involved with them, they were arrested and prosecuted for trumped up charges and actually were sent away for them. Right now, Illinois prisons have a lot of innocent people there due to corrupt police. Now, this is just one cop there. There are several. They've actually estimated about 10% of the police departments, personnel in police departments, police officers, are corrupt in doing this. But so far, due to Emmanuel's policies, nothing's being done. Now we're going to get into just a little more about this, about some crime that's going on. Oh my gosh. Any real help they get there, I mean, oh my God. They are shamed by Rahm Emanuel and his followers. They're shamed. They're called racist. They're ran out of town on a rail. So, any real help that they get there is no good. It doesn't work. They're not there long enough to do their jobs. There's actually been reports of actual people coming in, task force being created, not doing exactly what Rahm Emanuel wants them to do, and all of a sudden they're labeled as racist and how they're victimizing black people. Good going, Rahm. Very good going. The police chief, Eddie Johnson, he refused to go to a national police convention due to the fact that he believes that Trump has bad values. This is he did this even though this is actual numbers. 565 people were murdered in Chicago last year. Now, you want to talk about all the shootings and everything, all the mass shootings? They don't add up to that, period. And all the mass shootings in 1 year adds up to a fraction of the 565 people that were murdered just last year. Since Eddie Johnson became police, that's only since this year. Since Eddie Johnson became the chief of police in Chicago, almost 1,100 people have been murdered in Chicago. 13,067 have been shot. Now, I want to put this into perspective for you guys. Yeah, today's going to be a little short. I'll put this into perspective for you guys. In 2016 to 2018, only 48 Americans were shot in Afghanistan. A war zone, an actual war zone. Only 48 were shot in Afghanistan in 2016 to 2018. That's the ratio of killed to wounded is about 1 in 10. Okay, that's not too bad. But here in America, in one city alone, oh my God, 565 in 1 year were murdered. In the same amount of time in Chicago, 26 people were shot for every American casualty in Afghanistan. That's what's really kind of frightening here about the whole matter. Here's the breakdown. 82.7% were black. This is official statistics here. This is official statistics. 82.7 were black. 12.3% were Hispanic, and 3.5% were white or otherwise. In California, just the first half of 2018, 488 have been killed. These are people who cities ran by the people who care more about their political careers than they do the people that voted them in. So far, we've had there have been mass shootings in these places, gangland activities, police corruption. A majority of the people in Chicago and California won't even speak to cops. There's an unwritten code. You do not talk to the police because the police are the ones victimizing you. It sounds to me like people are victimizing themselves. Now, according to a lot of these activists in Illinois and California, it's where a lot of this is coming from, that police are driving down the streets shooting black people just because they're black. Now, according to statistics, in Chicago alone, it looks to me that black people are shooting themselves. Statistics don't lie. So, on to the next thing I want to talk about here. Right now, there's a big thing about vaping. I tried vaping. I didn't care for it. I couldn't keep the thing lit. That's humor. You can laugh now. But so far in America, there have been 34 deaths due to vaping. 34 deaths. And right now, they're talking about closing down vape shops here in Georgia because of 34 deaths. I think there were 3 here in this state. I believe 3. Now, the funny thing is that the whole thing about the people dying from vaping, they're not getting the fluid they were getting wasn't from a vape shop. It wasn't approved, FDA approved, anything like that. This was vape stuff, vape juice they used to get that they were getting off the internet. They were ordering it online from people because it's cheaper. Right now, when I tried the vaping thing back in 2016 after I was diagnosed with heart problems, I paid I think $110 for my heavy duty digital readout. Does everything in the world for you. I think it'll even kiss you goodnight. At the end of the day, I'm not for sure. Never tried that, but I paid $110 for the unit itself, and I buy vape juices for, oh my God, anywhere from $7 to $12 each. For the jar, a little bottle of it. When the FDA got involved, I saw a lot of vape shops go under because they couldn't afford to stay in business. The vape units went up, the vape juice went up massively, It was horrendously taxed. So people are now getting the stuff offline because, well, it's cheaper. It's much cheaper. This is actually vape juice that's made by individuals instead of by companies. And they're skipping the whole let's pay taxes upon taxes upon taxes so they can make it cheap and sell it cheap. Now, the funny thing is, too, is that all 34 deaths have been linked to products that contains THC. The THC that's in these products isn't real THC, it's synthetic. It's the same crap that was in bath salts that cause people to go insane and eat each other's faces. But they're wanting to say how dangerous vaping is, how vaping will kill you. Don't try it. 34 deaths. 34 out of how many people are vaping? Yeah, okay. Must be nice to create your own morality. Because let's take a look at how many people die from drinking. You can Google that. It's a lot. People who die from speeding, drunk driving, motorcycles. How many times people have been killed on motorcycles? Let's take a look at how many people, go swimming in deep water and drown. It far outweighs the amount of people who died from vaping. Doctors right now, my doctor alone himself is totally against it because there have been 34 deaths because of it. Look at the facts, people. Look at what's going on. Look where it's coming from. Instead of throwing a Band-Aid on a spurting artery, find out why the artery is spurting. Okay, and fix it from there. It's really any excuse to demonize a section of humanity. It's like the war on drugs. America loves a good war. They love anything: a war on poverty, war on ignorance, war on drugs. The war on drugs has not worked. Period. Not from day one. Never has. Never will. I say leave. Since this whole thing, 34 deaths due to vaping, I've seen more and more young people starting to vape because it's the in thing to do. Most people who started taking drugs did it to piss off their parents because their parents are against it. It was rebelling. Vaping is rebelling now. Vaping is more of a rebellion than smoking cigarettes is. I'm waiting for him to say something about CBD oil, how that's killing you, because due to doctor's orders, I have to take it every day. Actually, I have PTSD and a few other things wrong with me that this actually takes the edge off. It's the only reason I can come on here and talk to you guys is because of CBD oil. Don't expect me to come talk to you face to face. But yeah, it must be really nice to sit there and create your own, your own morality, and jump on a bandwagon. It killed 34 people. Let's look at it. Had synthetic THC in it, and their lungs quit working. And they got it from a place online. None of this has been happening with any vapes fluid that you get from an actual vape retail shop. Okay, so people, I want you to look at everything before you step to a conclusion. I try to look at everything before I even come on here. I did the amount of research I did just what I talked to you about took me 3 hours so far. What we've talked about so far. So you can't research before you start talking. Now, one more thing I want to talk about the research about things. I looked into the whole impeachment inquiry and the reasons for impeachment. Now, there's a little something that's really interesting that I'd like to mention here. Back when McCain was running for president, there was actually a news article that came out accusing him of all this stuff that never happened. It came out in some newspapers, wasn't widely spread, but there are some real big similarities between that and the Mueller investigation they were accusing Trump of. A lot of things were similar. The only things different was the name. They took out McCain's, put in Trump's name. A couple of small tweaks like dates and certain locations were changed, but virtually everything else was the same. This was the Peter Steele dossier. Came from this. This is like, well, they wrote this up. McCain didn't make it. They were using it on McCain. He didn't make it as president. We're going to save this for a rainy day. And Trump was elected. They had their rainy day. Let's release this. It was proven all to be false. They proved it was false. Then they had to have an investigation to see why it was false, and have an investigation to see what that investigation proved it was false to begin with. So, the amount of money and time, just the money alone they spent on the Mueller investigation, they could have used that money to help the homeless. They could have gotten every homeless person off the streets and in their own apartment for at least 2 months. At least. But no, they decided to spend the money. Democrats decided to spend that money to help to frame a president who was duly elected. It's really funny, honestly. They will go to that length. Now they're doing this whole impeachment probe, this impeachment thing. It's funny. They started off blaming him for what Joe Biden did. Don't tell me Joe Biden did nothing. It's right here on Google, on YouTube. Believe me, we've talked about this before. They're blaming Trump for what Biden did. Then they changed it, to make it look like, well, he didn't do what Biden did. Biden did nothing. Trump did this over here. Then they turn around and say, well, we have a whistleblower. There was no whistleblower. Now they're actually saying there's a whistleblower. I've seen his picture. He worked for the Obama administration. He worked for Hillary. He worked for a lot of people on the left. All of a sudden, he's now a whistleblower. He's not working for Trump. He wasn't even in the White House when this happened. It's still turning out that there is nobody who directly heard it that's testifying. Nobody who directly heard it that's against him, who's wanting to stop him. It's hearsay evidence. This is not a real impeachment. This is never meant to be a real impeachment. This is meant to cast doubt on Trump to give the Democrat runners a leg up over him. This is what Nancy Pelosi said before. We talked about this, I believe it was earlier this year. We talked about this. Where Pelosi said that a typical Democrat tactic was to mention something in front of a reporter. He'll go report on it. Every other network will pick up on it, start reporting the same thing. And when you say that didn't happen, all she's got to do is say, well, it's all over the news. It must be true. So, and the thing is it's gotten, this is one of the things that has gotten politics stupid. It's turning stupid. I used to consider it very entertaining, a very nice hobby. Now I'm looking at it as, this is turning retarded. They're not going to impeach Trump. There is no impeachment going to happen. None. They're talking about all these polls that are taking out. 48% of people want Trump gone. Where are they polling? They don't tell you that. They poll in major cities like New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, Houston, places where they know they're going to get a majority Democrat, and a majority of Democrats answering the poll, and that's why they're going to go by it. These are the same people who did the same polls in the same places that said Hillary was going to win by a landslide. So, don't trust polls, people. Don't let the media tell you what to think. I don't even care what the media has to say. I don't even care what Fox News has to say. I think they're bullshit. You people out there are talking about, well, I read the Drudge Report. So do I. I glance at it and see how stupid it is. It's right now, there used to be a law that the media cannot be the propaganda arm of the government. I believe that was done in 1954. I don't remember the exact name of the law. But during the Obama administration, he repealed that law. He also said in the beginning of his administration, back in 2009, I believe, 2009, 2010, he said, exact words, "Do not go against me. If you do, I will cut off your access to the White House." He said that to all the news agencies, all the TV networks. He said it to all of them. All of a sudden, everybody is pro-Obama, anti-anything that's not Obama. And they pretty much stayed that way, because now they can be the propaganda arm of the leftist, of the left, and be paid for it. I told you before, our news is it's bought and paid for by special interest. No news agency actually investigates much of anything anymore. They have the news delivered to them, and they report what they're paid to report. So, excuse me, I need some more sippage here. My voice is starting to go again. But anyway, guys, look, I'm going to leave you guys with this. I'll catch you next week, probably next Thursday. I want to slow this down to the end of the year. We have holidays coming up, and I'm trying to deal with a lot of things right now and stuff. So, you guys take care of yourselves. Think for yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll catch you next week. And remember always, talk hard. Oh, and Epstein didn't commit suicide. So, you guys take care. Bye.